When we talk about success, the first thing that often comes to our mind is achievement, recognition, and milestones. But in the Christian journey, success doesn't start outside. It starts deep within, with faith. Faith is the foundation that keeps us grounded when the storms of life hit. And it is the quiet whisper of strength when the world around us tells us we are not enough. The beauty of faith is that it does not require evidence to exist. It only requires trust. Trust in God, trust in His timing, and trust in the path He has set for you. Without faith, success becomes hollow, but with faith, even the smallest step forward feels like a victory, because you know you are walking in alignment with God's purpose. Money. Faith is not about believing only when life is smooth. It is about believing especially when nothing makes sense. Think about how a seed is buried in the dark soil before it ever sees the sunlight. At that stage, it looks lifeless, but in reality, it is preparing to grow. In the same way, your faith sustains you in seasons of darkness when nothing seems to move, when your prayers seem unanswered, and when your efforts feel wasted. That silent trust in God's unseen hand is what shapes true Christian success. Because success is not defined by how quickly you reach your destination, but by how firmly you hold on to the one who leads you there. Many times, we look at people and think they are successful because they have wealth, titles, or influence. But what if success is much simpler? What if true success is waking up with peace in your heart because you know you are walking with God? What if it is the courage to keep going when you are tired, the ability to forgive when you are hurt, and the strength to love even when love is not returned? Faith gives you that courage, that ability, and that strength. It becomes your foundation, something the world cannot shake, no matter how strong the winds of adversity may be. When challenges come, faith allows you to see them differently. Instead of saying, "Why me?" faith teaches you to say, "Try me." Instead of feeling defeated, you begin to understand that even your struggles are part of God's divine plan. Faith transforms pain into purpose and obstacles into opportunities. When you have faith, you stop measuring your worth by what people say and start measuring it by what God has promised. And His promises are never empty. They are filled with hope and assurance. But faith is not passive. It requires action. It is not just believing, but also stepping forward, even when you cannot see the full road ahead. Imagine standing at the edge of a staircase where you can only see the first step. Faith is taking that step, trusting that the rest of the staircase will appear as you climb. Success in the Christian life begins when you dare to move forward with that kind of trust. You may stumble, you may fall, but faith reminds you that you are never alone. Every fall is an invitation to rise stronger. Every delay is a reminder to be patient, and every closed door is protection, not rejection. Faith also demands surrender. Sometimes, success is not about fighting harder, but about letting go and allowing God to work in ways you cannot yet understand. It is about saying, "Lord, I do not know what tomorrow holds, but I know you hold tomorrow." That surrender doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong because it frees you from the weight of control. You no longer chase success desperately. Instead, you walk toward it gracefully because you know it is guided by divine hands. When faith becomes the root of your life, everything else begins to flourish naturally. Your relationships gain depth. Your work carries meaning. Your failures no longer define you, and your victories bring humility instead of pride. Faith allows you to see that your life is not about competing with others, but about completing the purpose God has uniquely designed for you. That is where the secret to Christian success lies. Not in what you achieve externally, but in how deeply your heart trusts and surrenders internally. So the first step toward true success is not building higher, but digging deeper. Digging into faith, trusting that your foundation is strong enough to carry every dream, every struggle, and every prayer. Because once you are rooted in faith, no storm can uproot you, and no challenge can defeat you. Success then is not a destination. It becomes a journey you walk every single day with peace, courage, and unwavering trust in God's plan for your life. If faith is the foundation of Christian success, then self-belief through Christ is the structure that rises upon it. One of the greatest tragedies is when people underestimate themselves, forgetting that they were created in the image of God. To believe in yourself is not arrogance. It is an acknowledgement of the divine masterpiece God has placed within you. The world will often try to tell you that you are not capable enough, strong enough, or worthy enough. But when you look at yourself through the eyes of Christ, you realize that you carry inside you a strength far greater than any challenge you will ever face. Many of us grow up measuring our worth by the opinions of others. If people praise us, we feel valuable. If they criticize us, we feel small. But Christian success does not rest on the fragile foundation of human approval. It rests on the unshakable truth that God has already approved of you. He has placed within you gifts, talents, and resilience that no one can take away. The moment you start believing in yourself through Christ, you stop living in the shadows of doubt and start walking in the light of confidence. Not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. Self-belief is not about ignoring your weaknesses. It is about trusting that God's strength is made perfect in those weaknesses. You may not have all the answers. You may not feel qualified, and you may not see the full picture, but you must remember that God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Every skill you need, every ounce of courage you require, and every bit of wisdom you seek is already within you, waiting to be awakened by your belief in Christ's power at work in your life. There will be moments when life convinces you that you are not enough. Maybe you failed at something you worked hard for. Maybe you were rejected by people you trusted. Maybe your own inner voice keeps telling you that you will never make it. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, if God has created you with intention, how can you be insignificant? When He breathed life into you, He planted seeds of greatness within you. Believing in yourself is simply watering those seeds with courage, nurturing them with prayer, and trusting that they will grow in their appointed season. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and your God-given destiny is your own disbelief. Fear whispers that you will fail. But faith through Christ reminds you that you are more than a conqueror. Doubt tells you that you are too weak. But His word declares that you can do all things through Him who strengthens you. The moment you align your thoughts with His promises, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a vessel of purpose. Self-belief through Christ also teaches you humility. It reminds you that your confidence is not rooted in your own power, but in His grace. This kind of belief does not make you proud. It makes you grateful. It does not make you boastful. It makes you hopeful. Because you know that every step you take is guided. Every door you open is blessed. And every dream you pursue is sustained by the One who lives within you. And when you truly start to believe in yourself through Christ, something powerful happens. You inspire others to believe too. Your life becomes a testimony that success is not about having it all figured out, but about trusting the One who holds it all together. You show the world that even in your flaws, even in your struggles, you are enough because God is enough in you. So remind yourself daily, you are not ordinary. You are extraordinary, not because of titles or possessions, but because the Creator of the universe chose to dwell in you. Believe in that truth. Embrace it fully and let it shape every decision, every action, and every dream. For the secret to Christian success is not only in believing in God, it is also in believing in the reflection of His greatness within you. Life is never free from trials, and no journey of success comes without challenges. But in the Christian walk, trials are not a sign of weakness, they are a test of resilience. Resilience is the ability to stand back up when life knocks you down, to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to stop, and to smile in the middle of pain, because you know God is still in control. Every setback you face is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to prepare you. The secret is to understand that resilience is not born in comfort. It is born in difficulty, in waiting, and in trusting even when things look impossible. Think of the stories we read in Scripture. Every person who achieved true success had to endure seasons of hardship. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers and thrown into prison before he became a leader. David was chased into caves before he sat on the throne. Even Christ carried a cross before he wore a crown. These stories remind us that trials are not the end of the story. They are chapters that shape the strength of our character and deepen the roots of our faith. Without resistance, there can be no resilience. Without battles, there can be no victories. Sometimes we look at our struggles and ask, why is this happening to me? But resilience teaches us to shift that question to, what is this teaching me? Every trial you go through is equipping you with wisdom, patience, and strength for the future. The pain you endure today becomes the testimony that will inspire someone tomorrow. The wounds you carry turn into wisdom that can guide others who are lost. In God's plan, nothing is wasted, not even your tears, not even your failures. They all have a purpose, and that purpose is to build resilience. Resilience is not about pretending that pain doesn't hurt or that disappointments don't shake you. It is about acknowledging the pain, but refusing to let it define you. It is about standing firm on the promise that this too shall pass, and that better days are coming. Even when doors close, resilience whispers that another door is waiting to open. Even when people walk away, resilience reminds you that God never will. And even when your dreams seem delayed, resilience assures you that delay is not denial. One of the most powerful truths is that setbacks are often setups for comebacks. When life pushes you down, resilience helps you rise higher. When you lose something you thought you couldn't live without, resilience teaches you that you are stronger than you imagined. When you face rejection, resilience shows you that God's redirection is leading you to something far greater. Success does not mean never falling. It means rising every single time you do. And in that rising, you discover a deeper strength you never knew existed. Resilience is also about faith in action. It is choosing to keep walking, even when you can't see the finish line. It is waking up after a night of tears and still daring to dream again. It is refusing to let fear or failure have the final word over your life. When resilience becomes part of your spirit, no amount of criticism, no failure, and no obstacle can permanently hold you back. Because resilience keeps your eyes fixed not on what you lost, but on what you are yet to gain. And perhaps the most beautiful part of resilience is that it gives hope to others. When people see you rise after falling, when they see you smile in your storms, and when they see you still standing strong despite everything, they are reminded that they can do it too. Your resilience becomes a light, a living message that with God's strength, nothing is impossible. So remember, every trial you face is shaping the warrior within you. Every tear you shed is watering the soil of your future. And every setback is preparing you for a greater comeback. Resilience is not just surviving the storm. It is learning to dance in the rain, knowing the sun will shine again. That is the secret of turning trials into triumphs. And that is where true Christian success finds its deepest strength. Success in the Christian journey is never about how much we accumulate or how high we climb on the worldly ladder. It is about whether we are living in alignment with the purpose God created us for. Each of us is born with a unique calling, a reason for which we were placed on this earth. And real success comes when we discover that reason and live it out with faith and courage. Purpose is what gives meaning to our struggles, direction to our choices, and fulfillment to our lives. Without it, success feels empty. With it, even the smallest act becomes powerful. So often we chase the kind of success the world celebrates. Titles, wealth, recognition, thinking that these will satisfy the longing in our hearts. And yet, when people reach those heights, they often realize they still feel unfulfilled. That is because external achievements cannot replace the inner peace that comes from knowing you are living the life God intended for you. Purpose is what turns a career into a calling, a task into a testimony, and an ordinary life into an extraordinary journey. Living with purpose requires listening, really listening, to the voice of God. It is about silencing the noise of comparison, the pressure of expectations, and the doubts within, so you can hear the gentle whisper of what you are meant to do. And sometimes, purpose is not something grand or dramatic. It may not always mean standing on a stage or changing nations. Sometimes it means being a source of kindness to one person who is hurting, or being a light in your family, or serving with love in the place you are already planted. Purpose is not measured by size, it is measured by obedience. When you live with purpose, even challenges become meaningful. Suddenly, your trials are not just random difficulties. They are shaping you into the person who can carry out that purpose. Every delay becomes preparation, every obstacle becomes training, and every failure becomes a lesson. Nothing is wasted when you are aligned with God's plan. Purpose gives you clarity when life feels confusing, and it keeps you moving when everything around you says stop. There is a beautiful truth in realizing that you don't have to copy someone else's path to be successful. You were not created to compete. You were created to complete your own calling. Your purpose is uniquely yours, and no one else can live it the way you can. That means your story, your struggles, your strengths, and even your scars are all part of the message only you can share with the world. When you stop comparing your journey with others and start embracing your own, you step into the kind of success that cannot be shaken. Living with purpose also demands courage. Often, your calling will lead you away from comfort zones, and it will ask you to take steps that feel risky. But the beauty of walking in purpose is that you never walk alone. God equips you for every assignment He gives you, and He walks beside you every step of the way. Success is not about never feeling fear. It is about moving forward with faith despite fear. Because you know your purpose is bigger than your doubts. And perhaps the most powerful part of living with purpose is the joy it brings. There is a deep fulfillment in knowing that your life is making an impact beyond yourself, that you are part of something eternal. Purpose-driven success is not temporary, it is everlasting, because it aligns with God's eternal plan. When you live with purpose, you stop chasing happiness in fleeting things and instead discover joy in serving, giving, and fulfilling the reason you were created. So remember, real success is not about how high you rise, but how true you remain to your calling. It is not about being famous, but about being faithful. It is not about impressing others, but about fulfilling the purpose placed within you by God. When you live with purpose, you live with peace, and that is the greatest success you can ever achieve. True Christian success can never be measured by what we keep for ourselves, but by what we give to others. Love and service are at the heart of the Christian journey, and they are the clearest reflection of God's work within us. If faith is the foundation, self-belief the strength, resilience the endurance, and purpose the direction, then love and service are the very heartbeat of success. Because in the end, what matters most is not how much we achieved, but how much we loved and how many lives were touched because we chose to serve. Love is not simply a feeling, it is an action, a choice we make every day. To love others as Christ loved us is to go beyond convenience, beyond comfort, and sometimes even beyond reason. It is to show kindness to those who cannot repay you, to forgive those who may not deserve it, and to offer hope to those who feel forgotten. Service is love in motion. It is the way love transforms into healing, into compassion, into acts that change, not just the lives of others, but also our own. So often we measure success by personal gain. But the true test of a life well lived is how much of it was poured out in service. You could have wealth, status, and recognition. But if love is missing, everything remains empty. On the other hand, you could live a simple life. But if that life is filled with love and kindness, then in the eyes of God, you are truly successful. Because love leaves a legacy far greater than any achievement can. When we choose to love and serve others, we begin to see people differently. We stop seeing them through the lens of judgment or competition, and instead, we see them as children of God, each carrying their own struggles, each deserving of grace. Service humbles us, reminding us that success is not about standing above others, but about kneeling to lift someone else. Sometimes the greatest act of success is not climbing the highest mountain, but helping someone who has fallen to stand again. Love and service also change the way we experience our own challenges. When you begin to live a life of giving, your pain no longer feels meaningless because it becomes a bridge to connect with others who are hurting. Your scars become a language that speaks to those who think they are alone. By serving others out of your own struggles, you discover healing for yourself. This is why Jesus said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." Because giving multiplies not just joy in others, but joy in your own heart. And here lies a profound truth: success built on selfishness is temporary, but success built on service is eternal. The love you show today, the kindness you extend, the burdens you help carry, these outlive you. Money, echoing in the lives of people who were touched by your compassion. This is the kind of success that heaven celebrates. It is not about how many people knew your name, but how many people felt God's love because of you. But serving others does not always mean doing something grand or public. Sometimes it is as simple as listening when someone needs to talk, offering encouragement when someone feels weak, or sharing what little you have with someone who has less. Service is not about how big the act is, but how genuine the heart behind it is. And when love drives your actions, no act is too small, because in God's eyes, every gesture of kindness carries eternal weight. When you live with love and service as your guiding principles, you leave behind footprints that others can follow. You remind the world that true success is not about self, but about sacrifice, not about power, but about compassion, not about receiving, but about giving. And in that giving, you find yourself becoming richer in ways the world cannot measure. So if you want to know whether you are successful, don't look at your bank account, your trophies, or your titles. Look at the lives you've touched, the hope you've given, and the love you've shared. Because, in the end, the most successful life is the one that reflects the love of Christ in every action, every word, and every choice. Gratitude and surrender are perhaps the most powerful expressions of Christian success, because they shift the focus from what you lack to what you already have, and from what you want to control to the one who already holds everything in his hands. A heart filled with gratitude does not wait for perfect conditions to give thanks. It finds reasons to be thankful, even in the storm. And surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is placing your dreams, your fears, your failures, and your future into God's hands, and trusting that His plan is better than yours. Together, gratitude and surrender create a life of peace, joy, and strength that no circumstance can take away. Gratitude changes the way you see life. When you begin to count your blessings instead of your problems, you realize how richly God has already provided for you. You stop chasing after success as if it were something distant and unattainable, and you start realizing that success is already here. In the breath you take, in the love of family, in the lessons learned from trials, and in the opportunities each new day brings. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into miracles, and it makes even the smallest achievements feel significant. It softens the heart, heals the spirit, and reminds you that you are never walking alone. Surrender, on the other hand, teaches you freedom. Many times we exhaust ourselves trying to control every detail of our lives. We set expectations, make plans, and when they don't work out, we feel defeated. But true Christian success is not about forcing our will. It is about aligning with God's will. Surrender means saying, "Lord, even if my path looks uncertain, I trust your direction. Even if I cannot see the end of the road, I know you are leading me." This surrender is not weakness. It is strength, because it shows that your confidence is not in yourself, but in the one who can never fail. When gratitude and surrender meet, something extraordinary happens. You find peace, even in the middle of chaos. You stop questioning every delay, because you trust that God's timing is perfect. You stop resenting every hardship, because you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. And you stop living with fear of the future, because you know your future is secure in God's hands. Gratitude teaches you contentment, and surrender teaches you rest. Together, they bring a calmness that the world cannot give and cannot take away. There is also a deep humility that comes with these two virtues. Gratitude reminds you that everything you have is a gift, not something you earned alone. Surrender reminds you that everything you dream of achieving will only be possible through God's grace. This humility does not make you small. It makes you strong, because it keeps your heart grounded and your spirit open. You stop striving to prove your worth to people, because you already know your worth comes from God. And when you live with that kind of humility, your success becomes unshakable, because it is built on truth, not pride. Gratitude and surrender also overflow into the lives of others. When people see you thankful in seasons where most would complain, and peaceful in situations where most would panic. They are reminded of the power of faith. Your life becomes a living message that real success is not about circumstances, but about the condition of the heart. And when you live with a heart full of gratitude and surrender, you inspire others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of peace, hope, and joy. At the end of the day, success will never be measured by how much we held on to, but by how much we let go into God's hands. It will not be defined by how many things we collected, but by how grateful we were for what we had. It will not be about how much control we had, but about how fully we trusted God with every part of our journey. Gratitude and surrender are not the end of the road. They are the essence of the road itself. So, if you truly want to discover the secret to Christian success, learn to say thank you in every season and learn to say, Lord, I trust you in every situation. Because when gratitude fills your heart and surrender guides your steps, you will walk through life not just successful in the eyes of people, but victorious in the eyes of God.